Hello, Kensington Knights. So, we've been analyzing character traits and we've been analyzing characters' perspective and the roles that the characters play and the feelings that the characters have. And now that we've done all that wonderful work, we're going to do something even more awesome. We are going to compare and contrast characters within a text. Okay? So, I can write about my reading by comparing and contrasting characters in a reading passage for a grade. You've done all the work inside your Reader's Workshop notebook, and yes, you are allowed to use that. So let's look at what's expected. This is your rubric for your reading response. You'll have the page number, the title, the I can statement, the date, and there is no work on this page in your Reader's Workshop notebook. These are the printables that you will need. So let's go over the rubric. The fifth grade reading response, number 1, comparing and contrasting within the text. I have included the layout and heading, title, author, content, format, spelling and conventions, and then these are my total points. So I have included the student name, date, and number written correctly. The student identifies the title of the book, capitalized and underlined. The student identifies the author, and then here's the meat of it. The student compares two characters or events in their book, explain how they are similar and different, and they quote accurately from the text to support their thinking. They'll have a minimum of 2 paragraphs with at least 2 sentences in each paragraph. The format is your font is going to be Arial and your font size is going to be 14. Spelling conventions. Use complete sentences, correct spelling, punctuation, and capitalization. Now, I want you to notice that half of your grade is the content, and that's what you need to be focused on. If I were you, since we've done character study all last week, I would use all that information that you've collected about your characters to do this assignment. Okay? I've used that as my example. So I have my student name, I have my number, I have the date. Those are easy points, folks. I start out in the beginning with, in the book, Home of the Brave, title and correct capitalization. Let's talk about the capitalization of a title right quick. We want to make sure that the first word in the we want to make sure the first word in the title is capitalized. We want to make sure the last word in the title is capitalized. So even if the first word is a, the, of, in, any 2-letter or 1-letter word is still going to get capitalized. Now, any of your small words that are 2, 3, or 4 letters that are prepositions, okay, they don't get capitalized. Articles don't get capitalized. So you have 3 articles. You have the, an, and a. They don't get capitalized if they're in the middle of the title. If they're at the beginning of the title, they get capitalized. Pretty sure those words don't show up at the end of a title. But if they did, they would get capitalized. Now, the word under is a preposition, but it's more than 4 letters. So therefore, under gets capitalized. By Catherine Applegate, make sure the author's first name and last name is capitalized. So in the book, Home of the Brave by Catherine Applegate is a story about 2 cousins who come to America after a war in the Sudan. That's kind of like setting up the stage. I know to some readers that sounds like a summary is about to take place. It is not. And your reading response is not supposed to be a summary. It is supposed to be comparing and contrasting two characters in your book. So, Keck, who has lost his father and brother to a war in the Sudan, remains a tender-hearted boy full of hope. See, I added that character trait in there. You'll want to make sure you do that. Keck sees the opportunities America has to offer as wonderful. His mouth will not stop smiling, evidence when he hears that his education is free. While he is in his ESL class, he draws a cow, and others begin mooing. He thought some students were making fun of him. However, he chose to be comforted by the good music. Even though Keck breaks nearly all the dishes in his aunt's house, he sets out to get a job to replace them. So basically, that's my information about Keck. Not seeing a whole lot of compare and contrast. Well, that's one way that you can organize it. You can introduce one character, and then as you introduce that second character, that's when the comparing and contrasting takes place. So watch what I do in this second paragraph. Ganwar, on the other hand, that signals that a contrast is coming up, has been in America for a year and a half. So that's a difference. And has yet to find a job. That's another difference. Like Keck, signaling that there's a similarity coming up, Ganwar has lost family to the war. He lost his father and two sisters, and unlike Keck, signaling that a difference is coming up, his hand. Because of this and his tribal scars, he experiences rejection in school and feels he doesn't belong in America. We see Ganwar's negative influence in how he talks about America and how Keck shouldn't get his hopes up about finding his mother. He tells Keck that America has freedom, but his old life haunts him. When Keck chooses to be hopeful about his mother's return, Ganwar tells him, hoping doesn't make a thing true. Here's the kicker. The two cousins are similar in their experiences, but their outlook is completely different. Okay? So I've talked about similarities and differences of the two characters within this assignment. This is your reminder of what needs to be included. Explain how they are similar and how they are different. Use quotes that are quotes accurately from the text to support your thinking. And you have to have a minimum of 2 paragraphs with at least 4 sentences in each paragraph. I kind of exceeded that, but I didn't go overboard. Okay? I think there's maybe 5 to 7. Okay? But you want to make sure that you're quoting from the text. You want to talk about how they're similar and how they're different. And you want to make sure that you have at least 2 paragraphs. Make sure that your spelling and your punctuation are done. You have your name, the date, your number, the title of the book, capitalized and underlined, and the author's name with their first and last name capitalized. You guys can do this. You've been building up to this point. You're comparing and contrasting 2 characters in your book. The guided practice for today is only for questions about expectations. Otherwise, that is time for you to complete the reading response. Here's your reminder. You're going to complete the reading response and submit it. These are the things that you need to focus on and make sure that your reading response has in it for the content part. But you have a printout of your rubric, so you should be able to refer to that about your name, date, number, book title, and author's name. That is it, folks. Use your time wisely. Yes, you may use your book to do this. I want you to use your book to do this because one of the expectations is to quote accurately from the text to support your thinking. Read or write about your reading on. Bye, Nights.